For a touchdown in league history. We know in preseason game number 1 here at State Farm Stadium, Amari DiMercato had that 43-yard catch and run, just leaving Chiefs defenders in his wake. So those are the two return men right now as we are getting set to kick this one off. Daniel Carlson. I tell you what, the Raiders there, Sam. First two guys off the bus are the two specialists. You got 6'5", 222-pound Daniel Carlson and 6'4", 221-pound punter A.J. Cole. As the kick is away, and it has taken DJ Dallas near his own goal line, and he's got some room to run across the 25, and he falls forward at the 32-yard line. And DJ Dallas always plays with a little something extra. He's fired up. I'll tell you what, this Cardinals offense here, Danny, talk about it, Clayton Tune. And it was a Cardinals offense that struggled to move the football, to complete passes downfield. And it's a matter of Tune trusting what he sees. Jonathan again has said, look, he knows the offense cold. He's able to read a defense. Now just go ahead and let it rip. Play free. We'll see as it's 1st and 10. Amari DiMercato is the running back flanking Clayton Tune. To the air and batted at the line. Sure enough, it's the Raiders led by Max Crosby, the multi-time Pro Bowler up front. And they got their big mitts up and knocked that one down.
You talked about it earlier, Paul. The Raiders are playing their starters. What a great opportunity for the 2s and even some 3s of the Arizona Cardinals to go against what regular season football will look like. This is unbelievable job to get reps against guys like Max Crosby, Landon Roberts, guys who are regular season ready.
Adam Butler with that pass pad right there. Quick toss, Amari DiMercato, man in the backfield. And it is Max Crosby with the takedown and the TFL.
They talk about it in Vegas a lot, and Pete Carroll has this idea of always be competing, always compete. And Max Crosby is a competitor. It's, of course, you're a wide receiver trying to do a crack toss. You have to be a little bit quicker because you got to understand, Max Crosby is going full speed. This is not a 2 or a 3. This is a Pro Bowler, all-pro. So get the speed of the game a little bit quicker.
Yeah, had ankle surgery last year, 2022-23, at 27 combined sacks, 45 TFLs, and that makes it 3rd and 17 for Tune. Looking, pumping, and now just throws it away. As the Raiders all over the Cardinals' 3rd-string quarterback, and that'll be 3 and out to start the game.
Now, I know it's not exciting. It doesn't look good, right? 3 and out, you lose yards, have a tackle for loss. But this is the best opportunity for the players on the field to understand what it will look like in week 1. There's a big difference of speed, of game speed, from the preseason to the regular season, as is from the regular season to the postseason. So we cannot waste these reps if you're an Arizona Cardinal.
That'll bring out Blake Gillikin at a 70-yard boot last week in the elevation in Denver, a 60-yarder. That one is away. And Trey Tucker is under it inside his 25. Finds some room to run on the far sideline before he steps out. And we expect to see the Raiders starters on offense as well, including Geno Smith, the quarterback the Cardinals know very well from his days in Seattle. Of course, they know no one better as a flag flies, and they'll decide that. Scott Novak is our referee. Pete Carroll is in the house, Sam, someone you went against your 4 years with the Cardinals, and someone the Cardinals have gone against plenty. Twice a year for 14 straight years as the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, now in year number 1 with the Las Vegas Raiders.
I was talking to some of the coaching staff on the field, and they talked about his level of teaching. Pete Carroll is an unbelievable teacher. He actually still teaches classes, I believe, at USC. He does a great job of building culture. So let's see how that culture translates against this Cardinals defense.
Yeah, he won 2 national championships at USC, won a Super Bowl, went to another with Seattle.
There are fouls against both teams on the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the kicking team, number 36. He went out of bounds and did not return in an equitable amount of time. Personal foul, blindside block on the receiving team, number 57. Those fouls will offset. We'll replay 4th down.
Oh, the dreaded repunt. Here we go.
Well, let me tell you why it's dreaded. I played a lot of special teams. The reason why it's dreaded...
It's 53 on the blind side, 53.
The reason why it's dreaded is that this is the biggest change of field position. We're running 60 or 70 yards. The same guys who just went all out for 60 or 70 yards, not just 5 yards in a pass pro set, they have to go back out again. So be very wary if you're the special teams or cover unit that you're not overly tired, you're staying focused, because Trey Tucker is a dynamic returner.
All I know is Ron Wolfley retired on us after 20 years here in this booth.
It was just a player going out of bounds, which is just a 5-yard penalty.
All right, the crew getting it dialed in as well here. And regular season 2 weeks away. Wolf used to just, I mean, he would put the dread into the dreaded repunt. And it was amazing how often something wacky would happen as Gillikin gets it away again. This one is definitely shorter. Trey Tucker returnable at his 30, outside the numbers, and then buried near the 40. So the Raiders do end up with better field position out of that. Hey, some Burrows and the Arizona Cardinals are teaming up for the That's Nacho Ball promotion. If the Cardinals defense comes up with a takeaway today, you score 2. A free bean and cheese burro with purchase of a 20-ounce drink tomorrow at all Valleywide Some Burrows locations. Redemption is online, so get ready to order. Let's go defense, and let's go Some Burrows. It's a Cardinals defense that gave up a lot of explosives last week to Jared Stidham and Sam Ehlinger in that Sean Payton run offense in Denver, playing the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s. Backups are out there again tonight. Geno Smith, Ashton Jeanty, the highest drafted running back in league history since Saquon Barkley. He has the carry, and he is taken out. How about that? Anthony Goodlow and P.J. Mustafer make that. Keon Bars and Mustafer picking up where they left off last week. Oh, and Papo in there as well.
And Mustafer had a great game last week versus Denver. He started his career in Denver, but for this week against this running back, Ashton Jeanty, you better bring your pads with you. I don't care if you're 1, 2, 3, or 4. Ashton Jeanty is going to bring the heat. Great job by Mustafer getting off the block and finishing the tackle.
Drafted number 6 overall. Heisman runner-up. 2,600 plus yards rushing. Second all-time in college history single season to Barry Sanders. Geno Smith to the air. Far side and incomplete. He's aiming for wide receiver 1, Jacoby Myers.
You talk about wide receiver 1, where you're going against offensive line 1 if you're the Arizona Cardinals defense. This is 3rd and 9, which is obvious passing situation. We've been looking for who can step up as a pass rusher without simulating pressure. Let's see what Jordan Burch does. Let's see what some of the defensive backs do. Will Johnson, as he might be a one-on-one, to try and slow down this Raiders offense.
All right, Geno Smith knows the Cardinals well, this venue well. Playing with Seattle. 9 game-winning drives the last 2 years. He is good under pressure. Pocket holds. He has time and finds his man just short of the sticks as a flag flies from the back judge. But a completion there is Dante Thornton Jr.
Pass interference on the defense, number 29. That's a spot foul and an automatic first down.
So there were 5 flags against the Cardinals secondary in Denver. I don't know if Jonathan Gannon has a dog, Sam Acho, but if he has a dog house, all the young DBs are in it right now.
Well, you got to think about it. Jonathan Gannon played DB in high school, so that's his position that he knows the best. He teaches those guys well. Right now, they're not getting the job done. Too handsy on the defense.
All right, first down and 10 into Cardinals territory. Jeanty behind Smith in the pistol, gets it, cuts it back north, run into by, how about Joey Blunt laying some lumber. And that is no small thing considering that Ashton Jeanty put a 49er. Yeah, he went viral, just took out a 49er DB a week ago.
Well, I don't know if he laid the lumber, if the lumber was laid on him. Joey Blunt met Ashton Jeanty in the hole. He made the tackle, which is positive, but that's what I'm talking about. With a running back like Ashton Jeanty, you need to come with what we call your big boy pads.
Yeah, upon further review, a big collision. We'll leave it at that. And this time off the right side. And this time it is Zamir White, 4th-year running back out of Georgia. And he gets the carry, bring up 3rd and 2.
And there's different types of mindsets you have to have when you're a defender. Let's say it's a guy like Ashton Jeanty. You know he wants to try and run you over. Zamir White doesn't have that same physical power that you saw, but the gap is a little too big. You don't want to see safeties making tackles 5 and 6 yards down the field. The defensive line has to do a better job of using their hands, getting off blocks, and not making it so easy for the running back.
Look, Pete Carroll made it clear one of the first things when he came in taking over the Raiders. We want to play physical and downhill. You see that in the 2 running backs. Here's Zamir White again. He has the first down and more. Lowering the pads, lowering the boom out to the 35 of the Cardinals. I mean, think of Ashton Jeanty. Maybe the most remarkable stat in taking a look at some of his college accomplishments, Sam. Last year, 2,600 yards plus rushing. Nearly 2,000 of those yards were after contact.
Yeah, he is a physical specimen. He's strong, he's fast, he's powerful, and he's not afraid to run you over. He's a guy who seeks contact.
At first down, Cardinals defense rushing 4. Play fake, Smith buying time. Back to the line of scrimmage, circling. And he's got his man. It is Michael Mayer right near the sticks. And the big tight end out of Notre Dame, former second-round pick on the business end.
Yeah, a little bit too much time. The pass rush had an opportunity to try and get there, but unable to finish. And so what's happening is you're seeing the quarterback take his time, escape the pocket, and passes aren't being contested.
Gain of 9. Now the whole playbook opens, doesn't it? Second down and 1.
Correct. 2nd and 1. Of course, this has been a lot of run on this drive, but don't be afraid to take a shot right here on a 2nd and really throw away down.
Gino Zamir White, and he meets resistance near the line of scrimmage. PJ Mustapher in there again with some initial contact. He had 6 tackles, 2 TFLs a week ago in Denver, and he had an epic edition of Mike Duff with Wired. He was very entertaining and very fired up. He has come off the radar and is battling for a spot in the final 53.
He is. He's a 3rd-year player out of Penn State. Actually covered him when he was in college. He does a great job of doing the fundamental things well. Eyes, hands, and feet.
Right, first down, and again on the ground, and again it's Zamir White. This time coming up, Denzel Burke onto the secondary, tripping up the Raiders running back. Keith Crawford was there.
What we're seeing, Paul, is we're seeing the offense attack the C gap. That's right around where the tight end is and right outside the offensive tackle. If you're in a 3-man front, you have to be a little bit stouter if you're one of those defensive ends to slow down that C gap, to make it a little bit thicker.
And this is a Raiders offense that was dead last in rushing a year ago in the NFL. Geno Smith towards the end zone, back shoulder, and he's got it. And there's a touchdown for the Las Vegas Raiders. How about it? Geno Smith, and he's thrown into the end zone. And man, that was a great grab, reeled in. Dante Thornton Jr. with his 2nd catch of the game.
Well, all offseason long, Dante Thornton Jr. and Geno Smith have been working on this back shoulder. They've been working on their deep ball, trying to get an understanding of how does Dante Thornton want to receive the ball. He's a rookie out of Tennessee, 6'5", 205 pounds. So all that offseason work pays off once you get chemistry with your receiver and your quarterback.
That might be it for Geno Smith. Daniel Carlson on. And the extra point is up, and it is good. So the Raiders, on their first possession, go the length of the field, 7-0 Vegas from State Farm Stadium.
Maybe 2nd year he was with the Ravens. And mind you, I'm 6'3", about 260. All of a sudden, Anquan Bolden is holding me up on the outside. I said, oh no, this is not good. I got to get better. Anquan Bolden is an elite level receiver, but also an elite level leader. The work he's doing now in the community is outstanding. So salute to Anquan Bolden.
One of our favorite all-time Cardinals, no doubt about it. Quan, that drive, 9 plays, 60 yards. Raiders make it 7-0 Cardinals here. And taking this one out across the 20 is Bam Knight. And that's exactly what he does, into a pile near the 30-yard line. And that's where the Cardinals will take over on offense after Geno Smith connected with Dante Thornton Jr. 17 yards to make it 7-0.
As we're looking, it looks like some of the 2s are coming out for the Las Vegas Raiders. So I don't see Max Crosby out there. I don't see Landon Roberts out there. And so you got a little bit of a taste of regular season. Now should be a return back to the mean. You're going good on good or 2s on 2s. Let's see what Clayton Tune does in the 2nd drive.
Remember, Cardinals starting a pair of bookend undrafted rookie tackles in Jeremiah Byers and Josh Fryer. Amari DiMercato looking for room to run, and he is wrapped up after a gain a couple. Think of how rare that is. 2, not 1, but 2 undrafted rookie tackles. You have Josh Fryer, who made 29 straight starts for a national champion Ohio State team at right tackle. Jeremiah Byers, who was a big part of a Florida State team. They had the size, they had the pedigree. For whatever reason, neither one was drafted. And yet both guys are making a serious push at bringing depth to this offensive line.
Well, part of it comes with opportunity. There were 2 injuries on the offensive line. Hayden Connor and Christian Jones. So with injury comes opportunity.
2nd down and 8. Zay Weaver underneath, tries to get free. Instead, it'll be a gain of a few and bring up 3rd down and 5.
And I can't wait to watch this. You talked about these offensive tackles who are undrafted rookies. Once again, we have a 3rd and pretty much obvious pass. 3rd and 6 is usually pass. These are the reps that you want to see. Can you win one-on-one? So that's what I'll be watching. I'll be watching Josh Fryer at tackle and Byers to see how they fare in one-on-one pass rush.
We know a week ago, Vance Joseph, former Cardinals defensive coordinator, Broncos DC, didn't hesitate to bring the heat. Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator, showing blitz. They bail. Tune, pressure from the backside, and he's dropped. Down goes Clayton Tune on 3rd down and 5. And once again, it's at the back of your drop. When you go to hitch, can you get the ball out and get it to an open receiver?
And just watch this club. Watch the outside hand of Jeremiah Byers. Just watch what happens. I'm going to clear it. Boom. Chop, club. You have to not have your hand sticking out so easily, because as an outside linebacker or defensive end, you're going to club that hand down and shorten the edge and get a sack.
All right, so Cardinals offense 3 and out. Here comes Blake Gillikin. Trey Tucker is the return man. And he's going to make a go of it, and he's taken down in the open field. Simi Fehoko picking up where he left off last week in Denver with some physical play, both in the end zone last week and on special teams. 7-0 Raiders from State Farm Stadium. Before their eyes and making a push. Zamir White behind Aiden O'Connell is going to the air. Quick pop pass over the middle, and he's got his backup tight end just short of the 40, fighting for extra yardage. Ian Thomas, year 8 veteran, and right out of the gate, Aiden O'Connell with the completion.
Yeah, it's essentially an RPO. One thing that you see when the safeties bring pressure, or linebackers bring pressure, creates a void. Aiden O'Connell sees that void, throws the ball to where the blitz just happened.
All right, quickly up to the ball, out of the pistol. Zamir White, flag flies in the backfield. Cody Simon is there. Owen Papo, the 2 inside linebackers.
Holding. Offense number 67. That's a 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
Backup center Will Putnam.
And the Raiders, they're going through some position battles of themselves. Aiden O'Connell's trying to see if he's going to be quarterback number 2. Will it be Cam Miller? Pete Carroll's talked about this competition of trying to get everyone at their best. So what you're going to see is the defense of the Cardinals will be challenged by this offense. Doesn't matter if it's the 1s, 2s, or 3s. This will be a high level of competition.
Yeah, Aiden O'Connell, on his 3rd different head coach in 3 years in the league, his 5th different play caller. He's got 3 receivers to the left side, but behind the sticks, 1st and 20 for a Raiders team up 7-0. Pressure, trying to escape, hit, the ball is loose. Xavier Thomas was there. Did he pounce on it as well? He did. Cardinals football. How about an Anthony Goodlow in there? But Xavier Thomas and company come through. Jordan Burch, and they take down Aiden O'Connell with a strip sack.
And watch Jordan Burch right there. Just speed and power. That's all that it is. Use your speed, use your power, and then don't just get a sack. Get the football. You get a sack, that's just a tackle. You get that football out, it's a sack, it's a forced fumble, and now it's a recovery. Great job on speed and power by Jordan Burch. Better job by Xavier Thomas out of Clemson with the recovery.
How about that? Round 3 pick, Jordan Burch, and fans with that turnover. Jordan Burch there said that's nacho ball, and that means some Burrows is giving away a free bean and cheese burro, available for online orders tomorrow, only with the purchase of a 20-ounce drink and promo code turnover. Limit 1 per guest at all Valley locations.
If I'm the Arizona Cardinals right now, you just had a fumble, I'm taking a shot to the end zone. You just captured momentum. Now go steal it all the way by scoring a touchdown on this chance.
Cardinals in the red zone. Clayton Tune in the gun. Now he's going to keep it. QB draw on his feet. Slides down just shy of the 10. Here's a look again. Jordan Burch, a big man who can move nearly 280 pounds. And he had a fake punt that he ran back for Oregon last year. Sam, he looked like Derrick Henry in that highlight.
Well, Derrick Henry is about 280, so he's right around Derrick Henry. But the great part about that pass rush was that he went for the ball not once, but twice. You saw him go for it early and miss the sack, but he didn't quit. He kept on working and fighting and striving and made the play.
All right, second and manageable Bam Knight, and he is met in the hole and dropped by the Raiders defense near the line of scrimmage. Gain of a couple. That's that tough running style. We had a chance to talk to the coaches. I mean, they bring up Bam Knight, and it's usually followed with, I like this guy. I really like this guy. I mean, like 3 times they'll say it.
But it's a deep running back room. You already have guys like James Conner, Amari DeMarcado is in that running back room, Trey Benson out of Florida State. And so you might like a guy, but that guy that you like has to be able to make plays that you like to keep him on your roster.
Yeah, Michael Carter has definitely made plays for this team, especially the last few games of last year. And he is trying to pick his way inside the 10 before he is swarmed over. Michael Carter was responsible for a moment, Sam, where I almost walked out of a press conference earlier this week. Michael Carter said he's been so locked into his football, he's been forgetting to call his parents. And he said, you know, I really do need to call my parents more than ever because they're in their 50s now. And I almost got up and walked out in protest.
Are you in your 50s?
For every 50-plus-year-old.
Look like you're in your 50s, Paul.
You know, it's like, I mean, are we really?
The people want to know, Paul Calvisi, really? Are you in your 50s?
Really, Michael Carter, yes. I am definitely, my hand is raised to that one. Here we go. 4th down and 1, and Tune looking, throwing, end zone, got his man, Travis Vokolak, Cardinals touchdown. How about that? Simi Fehoko on the business end of that Cardinals touchdown. And Clayton Tune, he got that Raiders defense on their heels, buying time, has the athleticism. And that ball's right on the money for the 2nd straight week. Simi Fehoko with a touchdown catch.
Well, we talked about it earlier, getting in tune, letting Clayton Tune, your athletic quarterback, use his legs. I love that play call because you allow the athlete to get in space. He had the option of running the ball, throwing it to Vokolek, or even to your point, the touchdown to Fehoko.
Chad Ryland knocks it through. And that's exactly what Jonathan Gannon is looking for out of Clayton Tune. Play fast, be decisive. For teachers, gives teacher grants with every Arizona Cardinals touchdown. Learn more at srp.net/teachers. How about Simi Fehoko? I think he is, if there was a question before the Denver game, there's no longer a question. He is definitely going to be on this team.
He's been a guy who's been making those splash plays. He had a huge tackle on punt team earlier in this game. Had another tackle on punt team last week. Now he scores a touchdown this week. Scored another touchdown last week. There has to be a certain type of mentality you have to have when it's a gotta-have-it moment. And Simi Fehoko gets it when you gotta have it.
Chad Ryland into the landing zone. Dylan Laube. And he's going to angle down the numbers and upended at the 33. And Fehoko once again, no better definition of what he can do. The big hit on special teams, and he follows up after a scoring drive and the touchdown catch. Santan Ford scoring drive presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. Santan Ford and the Arizona Cardinals. We are Santan Ford, a 10-yard grab from Clayton Tune. It was 4 plays, 19 yards after the strip sack, just over 2 minutes in length of the drive.
We talked about making a splash. Well, it looked like Fajoko's diving into the deep end and allowing the offensive returner to dive as well. What a play by Simi Fehoko. 6'4", 218 receiver out of Stanford, new to the Cardinals this year. Was with the Chargers last season. He gets it.
Yeah, the only thing missing there was him screaming cannonball with the splash hit. And speaking of, Zamir White gobbled up in the backfield and dropped near the line of scrimmage. Owen Papo seek and destroy out of that inside linebacker position. Cody Simon, the rookie out of Ohio State, was there as well.
It's one of the things I love about competition is that the cream usually rises to the top. Simi Fehoko, Owen Papo, these are guys who understand what's at stake, and they're making the most of their opportunity.
Look, Mac Wilson Sr., I think, is going to have a breakout year. He's wearing the green dot. He's your middle linebacker. Akeem Davis-Gaither got the start, wore the green dot last week. He's not playing this week. He is in as O'Connell to the air, pumps, now check down to the near side as Ian Thomas, his tight end. He is corralled just shy of the sticks. But that inside linebacker spot, to your point there, Sam, very competitive. Obviously, you got to play on teams. Owen Papo has been a force on special teams his first 2 years, but this is year 3. Can he get into the rotation for Nick Rallis and Jonathan Gannon on defense?
He's in that competition. Him, the 4th-round pick this year out of Ohio State, Cody Simon, and Michael Walker as well, number 43. Those 3 guys are competing for a backup inside linebacker role. Papo's made his mark. Simon's a 4th-round pick. Michael Walker needs to do more this game.
3rd and 1. Cardinals stack it up, bottle it up. But it looks like Zamir White has enough to pick up the first down. He does, and they're going to move the chains.
I know it's been a lot of run game for the Las Vegas Raiders offense, but this is a time, middle of the field, we call it the alumni zone, between the 40s, right? They call it that because back in the day, they'd have the nice seats between the 40s, right? This is the time where you take a shot in the alumni zone. You've done run, run, run. So defense needs to be prepared for a shot play.
Wasn't Bruce Arians notorious for that? He'd get near the 50-yard line and almost assuredly there would be a shot. Speaking of, Zamir White running downhill with some force. Nice gain on first down.
Yeah, that's what I played for BA for 2 of my 4 years, really 3 of my 9-year career, 2 in Arizona, my last year in Tampa. And he loved taking shots downfield. He'd take at least 6 to 8 deep field shots, because he said usually something good's going to happen, either a passive interference by the defense or a completion. So I understand the run game by the Raiders, but I'd be a little bit more aggressive if I were them to test the DBs of the Cardinals.
Well, situational football, 2nd down and 3. This could be one of those moments right here. As Raheem Mostert in, O'Connell going to the air, nearly picked off. Great job by Jalen Jones to jump the route. Will Johnson was over there as well. And Aiden O'Connell, who's been plagued by the interceptions so far in the preseason. He had 2 in preseason game number 1. He had another one last week against San Francisco.
And the reason why Jalen Jones can undercut that route is because he's a smart football player. He knows he has safety or corner help over the top. So he can undercut anything that goes flat. That should have been an interception, but great awareness to know that he has help over top.
3rd down and 3. Nick Rallis calling the defense here in the first half. As Aiden O'Connell pumps to the sticks. First down, Dante Thornton Jr. And he is taken down by Will Johnson in space, but first down Raiders. I tell you, Will Johnson, it's interesting. Obviously, he has everything you could possibly want in an elite corner. He would have gone way before pick number 47 if not for an injury his final year at Michigan. And he's a guy, in addition to everything else he has going for him, he played for 2 NFL defensive coordinators his last 2 years at Michigan. And Cardinals stacked that up after a gain of a couple.
But there's a difference, Paul, between playing for NFL coordinators and playing in the NFL. He's getting a taste of NFL game speed. We talked to Jonathan Gannon this week, the head coach of the Cardinals. He said one thing that Will Johnson needs to understand is that if your technique's off, even by a little bit, you will get beat. So you're not playing against college players anymore. You're not playing even against Ohio State players per se anymore. This is the league, so technique has to be on point.
This is the end of the first quarter.
All right, that'll do it for the first. 2nd down and 9. O'Connell in the pistol. And a give Mostert. Oh, he gets to the 2nd level near the 30-yard line, ridden down from behind by P.J. Mustipher. Here's our rookie spotlight presented by Hyundai, proud partner of the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, Pat Jenkins, he's wearing number 90 for the Cardinals, but he wore number 0 at Tulane, and he was a problem. 6'2", 292, but he was the heartbeat of that defense. I got a chance to call one of their games last year. He's extremely athletic and he's quick for his size, but he really makes plays when opportunities are there.
3rd down and 4. Mostert trying to get the edge. Jordan Birch is there. Nothing doing. Joey Blunt coming up in run support. And that Cardinals defense holding on 3rd down.
And we get excited a lot about pass rush and winning and getting sacks, but one thing I love is watching run defense. And we saw Jordan Birch do an unbelievable job of setting the edge on the run. He didn't get caught up inside, but he set the edge, did a great job of forcing a 4th down.
All right, so here we go. Daniel Carlson will come out and attempt the field goal. This will be a 52-yard attempt. He had 3 field goals against Seattle in preseason game number 1. He went 4 for 4 against the 49ers last week. Distance, no problem, and that is good. Daniel Carlson caps off the Raiders' possession with a field goal. And the Raiders regain the lead 10-7 on the Cardinals Football Network. But they figure to be more athletic and to be faster on special teams. Do you like the sounds of that?
I do. The game is changing. There's a lot more speed in space. And so if you get faster players, it gives you a better chance to be a playmaker.
DJ Dallas, and he bangs into a couple of defenders across the 30 and down to the sideline, and Danny Sarek.
Simi Fehoko signed with the Cardinals in March and has already left an impression. When it comes to his route running, Marvin Harrison Jr. says that Fehoko does a great job coming back to the ball, which has in turn made all the receivers better on that aspect of the routes. Harrison has asked him about it to try and improve that part of his game. Fehoko says that's something he focused on developmentally after his rookie year, wanting to create more separation, and in turn has elevated everyone's game in that room. This sideline report sponsored by Fry's Food Stores. Paul?
Here we go. Good stuff, Danny. And how about the play action and Tune on the run again? Naked boot, throwing, and he's got a sliding grab. How about it? Zay Weaver with another highlight reel catch. Just picking up where he's left off in practice.
I love the play calling. This is the second time we've seen Clayton Tune, the athletic quarterback, out of the pocket. Perfectly placed ball. An even better catch by the second-year receiver out of Colorado, Xavier Weaver. Made the 53-man roster last year, fighting for a spot with catches like that this year.
And that's exactly what the coaches are looking for. Highlight reel catches, the consistency. Tune this time running to the near side, and he's going to tuck it and slide once he gets into Raiders territory. You know, it's interesting going back to Fehoko. You talk about the alumni zone. What is it, between the 40s, you said?
Correct, correct.
Half the Cardinals receiver room is a Stanford alumni gathering.
That's right.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's right. Fehoko, Michael Wilson, even some of their tight ends got some Stanford connections to them.
It's and they all played together in college and just reunited here with the Arizona Cardinals. Tune on second down and 6. Raiders showing blitz. Here it comes. Bam Knight. He angles off, tackle left. He has the first down. Nice vision, patience, and acceleration by Bam Knight.
And just going back to that point, Elijah Higgins being the tight end, former wide receiver who was in that room. I got a chance to spend time with those receivers back when they were at Stanford. I got a chance to speak to the team. My former coach, Bobby Kennedy from Texas, was at Stanford. To think about all that talent in one room, and they're making plays in the NFL. That means you never know where you're going to go, but just stay locked in where you are right now.
You know, the tough part about going to Stanford or like Ivy League is, they tell me, is when you make a mental mistake, they say, wait a minute, you went to Stanford? Here's Bam Knight. And Raiders bottle that up. And in fact, they will make them pay the price in the backfield. Tyree Wilson among those there. Tyree Wilson, the former 7th pick overall a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they like him a lot. His development this season. He's tall, he's long, he's strong. He plays inside and outside. And he's a guy who this defense is excited about profiling this year.
6'5", 263, 4.5 sacks a year ago. Pete Carroll and company, they definitely want to try and unlock, once again, the former 7th pick overall. Clayton Tune, empty. Andre Bocelli cut down on the wide receiver screen. Going nowhere. Coming up and making a big hit. Greedy Vance out of the secondary for the Raiders.
Yeah, I love that play by Greedy Vance. Love the name Greedy Vance. But I love the play because he's been watching tape. He sees that the Cardinals all preseason long, even going back to last preseason, did a lot of screens, quick screens. So as soon as he saw that ball out, he cut and he made the play.
All right, Cardinals behind the sticks. Michael Carter flanking Tune. 3rd and 14. And the draw. How about the inside handoff from Carter? Bounces off one man. He's going to try and find some room. Far side. 40, 30. Got a lane far side. And one man to beat. Shoved out of bounds inside the 10. Speaking of making a big play, first Zay Weaver, now Michael Carter. 2 guys fighting for the 53.
I don't know if he's a magician, but he made something out of nothing. Michael Carter is a player who went to North Carolina. I got a chance to talk to him on the field before the game last week, and he just was relishing in the opportunity. He came to this team a year and a half ago when he said, man, I got some run, and then last year didn't get that much run. But, man, I'm going to make the most of my chances. And look at it. He's little. He's 5'8", so he gets lost in there, makes the great spin move, and shows off some of that big playability that's built into him.
He stays in the game, offset eye, play fake. Tune looking, surveying, now running, and diving inside the 5. It's interesting, Michael Carter had a great quote this week, I thought. In addition to insulting everyone in their 50s in his press conference, he added about being a backup running back because he was a star in college. He was the Jets' leading rusher as a 4th-round rookie. But he said in this situation, this room is so loaded, he said, you know what, your ego has to die, but the confidence doesn't. Meaning he hasn't lost confidence in his own game.
And there's a beauty to that. Ego kills. Ego is not good for you, but a level of confidence in your abilities because your preparation and the God-given talent, that's a positive. And so the ego dying means he loves sharing reps, not having to be featured.
Here's Carter. Any room to run? No. Once again, Tyree Wilson knifing in and bringing down the Cardinals running back.
And just a little more to that point, when we were talking on the field a couple weeks ago, he reminded me that he said, man, I'm not the biggest back. I'm 5'8". I'm 200 pounds. So it's not a bad idea to do like the Cardinals doing with Trey Benson and James Conner, having not running back 1 and running back 2, but both guys be RB1 to share the load. That's that ego dying, but the confidence building.
James Conner is really bullish on Trey Benson this year. He's the one who called him co-RB1s. Here we go, 3rd and goal from the 5. Tune with Amari DiMercato, the 3rd down back. He's looking for DiMercato. It's tipped to the line of scrimmage and incomplete. Tune had his man in the flat, but here comes the field goal unit.
Good decision, but bad execution. The Las Vegas Raiders brought pressure right up the middle, so Clayton Tune fades away and tries to get the ball over to his free-releasing back. Unfortunately, it was tipped by the defense. You see him fading, getting that ball out, but unbelievable job by Jamal Adams, who just signed to the team, not to play safety, but to play linebacker, making another big-time play. He's a phenomenal player.
Yeah, 3-time All-Pro Jamal Adams. And so here comes Chad Ryland, and that kick is away. 23-yard field goal. It is good, and we are tied once again. Chad Ryland looking regular season ready this preseason. Tied at 10. Cigna Healthcare, proud to sponsor the Kicks for Kids program for the 16th year. For each successful Cardinals field goal, Cigna Healthcare donates to Arizona Cardinals Foundation, benefiting the Excel Center for Children and Adults with Developmental and Intellectual Disabilities. Paul Calvisi, Sam Acho, Danny Surek down on the sideline. We are tied at 10. Cardinals went 10 plays, 64 yards. Chad Ryland, a 23-yard field goal. Michael Carter had a big 38-yard run on that drive. And Chad Ryland getting ready to do the honors here. I tell you what, Chad Ryland, based on the way he came in last year, kicked game winners or game-tying field goals in the clutch in 3 of the first 4 games. Dylan Laube, the return man, and he is across the 30 before he is spilled there. And that Santan Ford scoring drive presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. Santan Ford and the Arizona Cardinals. We are Santan Ford. You see a 10 play, 64 yards. Clayton Tune definitely has gotten into a rhythm since the first 3 and out, would you say?
I would, and the play calling has been better. That was a frustration last week. I'm saying, okay, you have a quarterback who has legs. Activate the legs of Clayton Tune. And now we've seen a couple scrambles. We've seen a couple great decisions on the scrambles by getting down, and a couple of bootlegs, moving the pocket to let Clayton get into him.
3rd-string quarterback Cam Miller with a give to Raheem Mostert ahead of steam. And wow, pushing the pile across the 40. That's going to be real close to a first down. And it is 1 run, 1 first down. By the way, the Cardinals had 11 total yards on offense in the first quarter. That last field goal drive, they had 64 yards on that drive alone.
And this is the time you have to change your mindset just a bit. We talked about Ashton Genty and Zamir White as well. You have to understand that Raheem Mostert's a different type of back. more quick, explosive, not as physical.
All right, so they move the chains. But wait a minute, hang on. Upon further review, maybe a virtual measurement. Pete Carroll, he's trying to get a further explanation, giving the chain gang a little bit of a hard time right there. Remember, they really serve as a backup now, as they have gone with the Hawkeye technology. 2nd down and 1. Cam Miller at quarterback. Give Mostert, and he has the first down. Pinballs his way forward, banging off Cardinals tacklers near midfield. Which brings up something I wanted to ask about, Sam. I can't tell you how many preseasons about this point in August we bemoan the caliber of tackling, because it's impossible to replicate in practice. But for the most part, would you say and would you agree the Cardinals tackling has been pretty clean through the preseason?
The tackling's been clean, but it's been leaky, right? You're not seeing tackles for loss or 1-yard gains. Usually it's 3 or 4 or 5 or 8. So it's a great job tackling when they get there. You just got to stop them from getting there by being better up front.
Out of the pistol, play fake. Cam Miller hits the back. Zamir White, who was belted from behind. Cody Simon making a pay. Simon definitely has been playing a little quicker, a little faster. 4th-round rookie, big star, big part of that Ohio State National Championship.
You could see it. He's got this natural-born leadership ability to him.
2nd down and 7. Pressure, and Cam Miller is dropped. Xavier Thomas off the edge as he takes down the Raiders quarterback.
So I love what XT did there, Xavier Thomas. He kept the quarterback from getting upfield, but he didn't let him cut right up inside of him. So great job blocking the path of the QB, but being athletic enough to get him down. Xavier Thomas out of Clemson trying to make a name for himself as he fights for the 53-man roster.
Yeah, the one word that Jonathan Gannon used with 54 was consistency. He flashes. He wants to see it on a regular basis. Negative play, 3rd down and 14. Cam Miller, deep drop. There's Thomas again. Gets it away and overthrows the intended target on the near sideline. And here comes the Raiders punt team.
Yeah, unbelievable rush by Xavier Thomas using his hands. You're going to see him at the top of your screen. Trying to do a side swipe, but gets a great job using his hands, not letting the offensive lineman touch him, flipping his hips, and getting a quarterback hit. It's not always about sacks. It's about hits, hurries, and pressure, because they affect the quarterback as the game goes on.
Working against backup right tackle Thayer Munford Jr. of the Raiders. Zay Weaver, the return man. This is a big moment for Zay Weaver as well. He had a highlight catch earlier, but he needs to be a factor on 4th down in the return game. He won't get a chance here, as that one checks up near the goal line and then kicks into the end zone for a touchback. Cardinals and Raiders tied at 10 as we near halftime.
Next, how to communicate and how to survive certain reps. Petzing likes that you can see the nastiness, effort, and energy out of Fryer.
Right tuned behind the 3rd string offensive line, buying time, and now he's got to throw it away. And we got a flag as well. A little something extra at the very end. Scott Novak.
Personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense, number 49. 2-hand unnecessary shove. That's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
There's Charles Snowden. We get another look as he pleads his case.
And these are the things that just almost don't make any sense, right? Like, I don't love the call, but in situations like these, the ball's gone. Don't do anything extra.
What is the rule for a pass rusher? How close, how many extra steps do you get to make contact once the ball is away?
Well, you feel like you got a step, but the referees have changed it a little bit. They don't want to give you that extra step. That ball's gone. They want you to back off of the QB.
Amari DiMercato slips out of one tackle and then lunges forward across the 40. Nice gain of 5 on 1st down. Tell you, Amari DiMercato, man. He looked regular season ready in that opener against Kansas City here at State Farm Stadium, 43 yards. Just has that deceptive speed. Guys talk about it. They're like, wait a minute. This guy should not be accelerating quite like that. And for him in year 3, former undrafted rookie free agent out of TCU, he's looking to expand his game as pressure comes off the right side. Tune goes to DeMercado on the far side. Gain of a couple, bring up third down and short.
Well, that expansion of his game is important. He's 215 pounds, so he's a bigger back, but he's great on third down, which means he's great in pass protection, but he's a solid receiver of the ball as well. So you want to expand that role. Don't just be great on third down and pass pro. Get a little bit quicker. Be great on first and second down as well.
Bam Knight checks into the game. Third down and 3. Zay Weaver and Andre Bocelli in the game. Simi Fehoko to the far side. And Tune's going to go to that side and not on the same page. He thought Fehoko was going to go ahead and cut that route off. Instead, he was running a go ball down the far sideline.
Yeah, he saw man-to-man. We talked about that back shoulder fade, the one you saw from Geno Smith to Thornton. Well, that's that miscommunication. Looked like a back shoulder ball, but Fehoko was running a different route. So that's that time on task that must be had for people to be on the same page.
Blake Gillikin coming out. Alex Bachman is the return man for the Raiders. First preseason game between these two since 2019. The Desert Neighbors as Bachman goes to the far side, and we have a flag. Michael Walker saying, yeah, I got hit from behind. We'll see if that indeed is the call.
During the return, legal block in the back, receiving team number 53, half the distance to the goal. First down.
Indeed.
Timeout.
All right, we'll take a break. Cardinals and Raiders knotted at 10.
Being against guys like Josh Sweat, Zaven Collins for an outside linebacker spot. He's not going to win that competition, but he can win on fourth down.
Raheem Mostert hit and dropped just past the line of scrimmage. Keon Barr's in there making the initial contact. Some help from Anthony Goodlow. Xavier Thomas was one of the most heralded recruits out of high school. As a true freshman, he played on a national championship Clemson team. And then COVID hit. He ended up doing 6 years at Clemson. And he said he lost his love for the game for a while, but then came back with a flourish at the very end of his college career and made it as a day 3 draft pick a year ago as the Raiders stoke it north. And look, he has things you just can't teach in Xavier Thomas, right? I mean, the athleticism if nothing else.
Yeah, he's an athlete, but I just want to go back to your point about losing that love for the game. Football can be draining, especially you talk about that COVID year, and then you're going to the NFL and you're trying to make the roster, and it's not all that it seems. So rekindling that love for the game sometimes just happens by having a new coaching staff or getting a new environment or just playing again in the pre or regular season.
All right, Cam Miller, third down and 6 from his own 11. Flags fly, whistles blow. Whistle.
False start. Offense number 76. That's a 5-yard penalty. Third down.
That's Caleb Rogers, the backup left guard. But again, if the Cardinals, and we know how the Cardinals want to play defense, and in some ways they're searching for what is the identity of this year's defense. In the past, they've had to manufacture a pass rush. Can they rush 4? I mean, the D&D line this year stands for day and night. When you look at the starters,
This is a 2-minute warning.
what they've added, and now, okay, what are they capable of? And that's all part of the process in August as you build towards week 1 at New Orleans. Colts over the Bengals. Cardinals go to Indianapolis and Cincinnati this year. Third down and 12. Backed up at their own 5. They keep it on the ground coming out of the 2-minute warning. Raheem Mostert, a short gain. He is taken down. Darren Hall making the tackle and celebrating as the Cardinals exercise a timeout.
The reason that play is so important is that this is a battle of field position. You're going to punt the ball, get the ball probably right around midfield if you get a 10-yard return. All of a sudden, 10 yards, you're in scoring position. You get that score, you score before halftime. Now you build momentum going into the second half. So big time stop by the defense, keeping the offense backed up.
And one of the most excited guys in this team for the fortified defense is Greg Dortch, the punt returner. He told us he loves it. More punts to return, better field position, more room to work. As that is a booming punt. A.J. Cole sends Zay Weaver back past his 35, finds some room at the 40, 45, and then blasted just short of midfield. Nice job, though. Once again, Zay Weaver fighting for a spot on this team, and the point you've made, not just as the final receiver, perhaps, but on special teams as well. The Cardinals offense coming out, and coaches love this, do they not? Drew Petzing, Jonathan Gannon, they love the situational football. Pete Carroll. All right, here's my trivia question for you, Sam. You ready?
All right.
In more than a century of football, the Cardinals have only faced 3 coaches more in their history. Can you name those coaches? And I need you to think big. Pete Carroll, twice a year for 14 years, 29 times total against the Cardinals in his coaching career. We're talking all-time greats are the only 3 the Cardinals have faced more in their team history. I'm going to help you out. It's George Halas, Curly Lambeau, and Tom Landry. How's that for name dropping?
I was going to say, can I use my phone, but might have to use a typewriter for that one.
Here we go, under 2 minutes to play. Clayton Tune, play fake, hangs in the pocket, cannot connect with Michael Carter. Hit as he threw.
So football awareness, it's 2-minute drive. Essentially, it's pass for the most part. The defense knows that. The offense needs to know that as well. So you need to anchor down a little bit more. Know that the defense is going to give you their best pass rush. That's why oftentimes you'll see drive starters be screens or draws on the first play of downs like these to slow down an excited pass rush.
All right, Michael Carter, the lone running back behind Clayton Tune. 2nd down and 10. Here comes the extra man. Pass rush and a pass batted in the backfield. Tune can't get it away to the intended target. Andre Carter II crashing into the pocket.
And there was that screen that we talked about, but it was just a down too late. Run that screen on 1st down. That way 2nd down, if you want to run it, you can run it instead of having to force it. And now your obvious pass once again.
And the incomplete pass stops the clock at 1:36. The Raiders with all 3 of their timeouts. 3rd down and 10. Tied at 10 here in the first half. They bring numbers. Tune trying to escape. He can't. The pocket collapses. Now he bounces out to his left, extending the play, scanning, and then getting out of bounds. Great escape act by Clayton Tune. He just couldn't keep his eyes downfield long enough to find an open Cardinals receiver.
This is phenomenal by Clayton Tune. The pass rush wasn't there. Clayton Tune avoids the pressure. But what happened is some of the wide receivers gave up on their routes. This is the scramble drill. You have to continue to stay alive for your quarterback, and that's what we didn't see. Number 82, Andre Bocelli, gave up on his route. So when Clayton Tune was looking downfield, Bocelli wasn't there.
That's one thing some of the guys were talking about, that Simi Fehoko has been really good at, the veteran receiver, just teaching Cardinals receivers come back to the football. Case in point right there, Alex Bachman trying to find some room to run, goes north at the 10, spilled near the 14-yard line, and a $1.15 for Cam Miller, the Raiders quarterback, and that Raiders offense to operate.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 37, that'll be a 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down.
This is the beauty, Paul, of that 3rd down stop a series before. Field position, even though you did nothing on offense, you went backwards on offense. Well, now look where the Raiders have the ball. They have the ball inside their own 5-yard line. So this is how we talk about complementary football. Offense, defense working together.
All right, Cam Miller going to try and engineer a drive here with a $1.15 to go. Rookie out of North Dakota State, started 56 games in 5 years, went 45-11, 2-time national champ. 48 rushing TDs. He's a dual threat quarterback, but he's standing in his own end zone right now. In a tie game, Give and Zamir White knifing his way across the 5 near the 7-yard line.
Number 2, Arizona. 30-second timeout.
Cam Miller is a leader of men. I got a chance to call their FCS playoff game when North Dakota State was playing, and he has this way about him. It's not just the physical talent or the arm talent, but there's a level of confidence where he rallies people around him. Won a national championship this year, won another one in 2021. This guy knows how to win.
It's now time for our defensive spotlight, sponsored by your Valley Chevy dealers. P.J. Mustipher making a late charge to make the final 53 by making plays.
Yeah, he's a nose tackle, so he's a space eater on the inside. Let's see if he can eat some space over these next few series.
Zamir White cutting it back. He has a first down and more before he's met by Keytrell Clark and company. Zamir White with some good room to run. PJ Mustipher on the sidelines at the moment. Jonathan Gannon tells a great story. Early on the morning of July 4th, he comes into the Dignity Health Training Center. And wait a minute, there's someone in the backfield on the morning of July 4th working out. It was PJ Mustipher, who came in the end of last season and said, Coach, how can I get better? Where can I get better? He said, you need to lose weight. You need to get in better shape. You need to be more mobile along that defensive front. He told us he lost 40 pounds in the offseason as Raheem Mostert cut down short of the 20. Keytrell Clark playing some physical football on Papo there as well.
And you'd be surprised. You think you need all that weight, but all of a sudden he's slimmer, he's just as strong, and he's quicker. That's one thing you think. You see the big-time plays on the field, but you don't see what they do in the dark. What you do in the dark will come to the light. So great job by PJ Mustipher putting in the work in the dark.
That'll do it for the first half. The clock expires, and let's go down to Danny Sarek.
Coach, you wanted to see more control and outside, it's Garrett Williams.
That's great stuff, Danny. You know, if you had to formulate a list of potential first-time Pro Bowlers in this Cardinals roster, I would start with Garrett Williams. I would add Paris Johnson Jr. I would throw in there Marvin Harrison Jr. And I would say, a little bit under the radar maybe, Matt Wilson Sr., the new middle linebacker. I just think he's going to have a huge year as we get the kick, and it is taken by Tommy Mellott, former college quarterback, FCS, and he is buried just past the 30-yard line, and that's where the Raiders will start on offense. So we have a new referee. Don Willard will take over the second half wearing the white hat.
They're trying to bring us a new broadcaster shoe. Hold on. What's going on with all these changes in the second half?
Here we go. Raiders cashed in on their first possession. Geno Smith and company going 9 plays. The ones made it 7-0, but we are tied at 10. Cam Miller waiting, throwing, has his man. He was near the first down. He's stacked up and knocked back. Jack Bech, the round 2 rookie out of TCU.
Yeah, they're excited about Jack Bech. They're also excited about Tommy Mellott. He's the guy who you saw return that kick. He's a former quarterback, playing a little bit of slot receiver. He's a project, but Jack Bech is a proven winner.
Speaking of winners, Cam Miller once again 45-11 at North Dakota State. He was the runner-up for the Walter Payton Award. So did the FCS Heisman. As the give is to Sincere McCormick, and wow, does he pay for that spin move. He is taken down with a vengeance. How about that?
Yeah, he was a runner-up, but you know the winner was Tommy Mellott.
There you go.
Who was a quarterback, and they played each other in the national championship FCS this year. They have a lot of respect for one another, and now they're on the same team.
Yep, Tommy Mellott, though, now a receiver. And so, interesting, they're on the same offense. Jamie Robinson with a big hit and tackle, but it was for a first down and 10. As movement up front.
False start. Offense, number 60. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Charles Grant, backup left tackle. And look, this is a team that's in transition. They won 4 games a year ago. The Las Vegas Raiders new head coach and Pete Carroll will turn 74 on September 15th. New GM John Spytek, longtime assistant GM in Tampa. No playoff wins last 22 years as McCormick getting good positive yardage on 1st and 15.
Back when you were in your teens, huh? 22 years ago. No, but all jokes aside, this is a team that you could argue is rebuilding, but they're very confident. I was talking to Darius Swinton, who's a special teams coach for the Raiders, and he's been there the last 3 years with 3 different coaches. He said that this is different. Pete Carroll is different. He said, I'm sitting there, and it's like a master class in leadership. So expect a quicker turnaround for this Raiders team.
Yeah, Raiders team that's had 14 head coaches since 2001, most in the NFL. Miller pressure, trying to climb the pocket. pumps, and now ducks down. That'll bring up. I tell you what, Chip Kelly hired as his offensive coordinator. Right now, Chip Kelly is realizing Cardinals are getting some good pressure on the pocket.
They are. 2 great rushes by some of the edge players for the Arizona Cardinals. I love how they're attacking the edges. Benton Whitley was one of those rushers. Elliott Brown was the other. That's how you win on the edge. And now all of a sudden that sets up an inside move for the next passing down.
3rd down and 7. Opening possession in the second half. Cardinals rushing 4. Miller gets it away. Nearly picked off, broken up. And Michael Walker almost came up with that pass deflection by Keitrell Clark, who jumped the route.
Now you talk about it. You run to the ball, you get rewarded. Michael Carter, there was a little bit of a change of speed. You want to see him as soon as that ball is off the quarterback's hands, sprint to the football, because you never know if there's going to be a tip or an overthrow. So when you have effort to the football, good things happen. You don't want to see the change of speed. Go there immediately so you can make the play.
Keitrell Clark, someone who made this roster as a day 3 draft pick back 3 years ago. Monty Osborne and Jonathan Gannon have really churned this roster ever since. 28 draft picks in their first 3 years. Zay Weaver with a fair catch. In fact, there are only 3 picks left from the 4 draft classes. Let it rip, see it, and deliver it. And that's exactly what he does right away out of the backfield. Tajon Palmer with a physical few yards after the catch, lowering the pads, and a nice gain on 1st down.
You got to love it. I was wondering what would the play calling look like with an offensive line coach calling the plays. Will it be run game? Will we saw quick game? Quick game makes it easier on offensive linemen to get them in a rhythm and not have them be on an island as long.
So do you expect an inordinate number of runs? Do you expect this to be predominantly run game, or is he going to go ahead and counter his own tendencies perhaps? 2nd down and 5. And out of the pistol, DeMercado trying to bounce it outside. Instead met by a host of Raiders defenders.
Well, I don't necessarily expect run, but I do expect quick game. Run game and quick game, because it allows the offensive linemen to take pressure off of themselves. Every down, some player has more pressure than another. If it's a 7-step drop, all of a sudden your tackles may have more pressure. Maybe the tackles get helped by tight ends. The guards and centers will have more pressure. So you want to spread that pressure around as much as possible. That's why I expect some of these runs and quick game, especially in a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 situation.
We'll see 3rd down and 4. Bam Knight flanking Clayton Tune. Raiders loading the line of scrimmage. Showing blitz, they bail. Tune hit, still on his feet as the 1st down. Nice vision and the ability to pick his way out near the 30-yard line. How about that? A gain of nearly 12.
And that's his game. Clayton Tune didn't get a chance to do this last week. Escape the pocket. If nothing's there, you don't just stay there and get sacked. No, you use your legs and use your athleticism. That's a smooth cut up the field. Looked like the running back. The great thing about Clayton Tune's game is that you can spread the ball around with your arm, but move the pocket with your legs. So I'd like to see, maybe not expect, but bootleg so you can get him out of the pocket.
Tune maybe changing the call at the line of scrimmage. 5 seconds on the play clock, gets it away, and it's a run. Emari DeMercado dropped almost immediately near the line of scrimmage.
The good thing about runs like those, Paul, is that, okay, those runs can set up passes. You run a couple stretches or outside zones, all of a sudden you have that same look to one side, have a bootleg to the other side, and you'll see some of those wide open crossers in the intermediate part of the field.
We've seen Clayton Tune as a round 5 pick, 2023 out of Houston, had 44 starts in college, only 1 start as an NFL player. That was his rookie year at Cleveland. To the air here, plenty of time. Now pressure from the backside, and he's thrown down for a huge loss. Raiders coming in and getting the sack. Greedy Vance from the cornerback position.
And that's the issue when you think you have a lot of good legs. All of a sudden, you're not going against an outside linebacker. That's a DB, Greedy Vance, who's making that sack. He's quicker than you. He's faster than you. So you have to understand, certain times you run, certain times just get rid of the ball and don't take that sack.
At the same time, Amari DiMercato, the best blocking back perhaps on the Cardinals roster, he probably figured that ball would have been gone by then. 3rd down and 21. And here you go on an inside handoff. Draw to Bam Knight as he just runs downhill across the 25 to the 26 as the Cardinals punt team trots out onto the field.
A lot of people, Paul, at this point, you see the punt team coming on, you're watching TV, you go get a drink, whatever. These are the plays that are going to decide if certain players make this roster. So the Semi Fahocos of the world, DeAndre Bocelli's trying to see if he can make the practice squad. This is everything to them, so they're dialed in.
The ghost of Tony Jefferson is still somewhere in this building, and I'll explain that in a moment as the punt is away from Blake Gillikin. Dylan Laube with the return, trying to get outside, does. Tony Jefferson made the Cardinals as an undrafted rookie with 2 picks in the 3rd preseason game.
On the defensive side of the ball, taking on double teams, maybe even triple teams to let guys like Mack Wilson eat.
Cam Miller and the Raiders 1st down and 10, tied at 10, play fake, now going for a shot, deep ball, far sideline, has a man, incomplete. As we go down to Danny Sarek for more.
Tomlinson signed as a free agent this offseason with the Cardinals and has been as advertised. Defensive coordinator Nick Rallis knew from the tape that he was disruptive inside and hard to move in the run game. What has popped in person for Rallis? The sweet feet of Tomlinson. Rallis says it's unbelievable how agile he is at 6'3", 335 pounds. That is what has really wowed Rallis in person about Tomlinson. This sideline report brought to you by Fry's Food Source. Paul?
Michael Walker with a takedown there. Yeah, our guy Ron Wolfley, retired after 20 years from this booth, has a long legacy of, shall we say, regrettable nicknames that he's given players. Okay? Some of the names are on this building, by the way. Larry Fitzgerald and Carson Palmer and Kurt Warner. We won't go into those, but there are a lot of legendary players for the Cardinals who want a piece of Wolf for their nickname. He did come up with a good one, we thought, with Calais Campbell being the rectangle and Dalvin Tomlinson being the square.
Yeah, and Dalvin was a little bit offended. He said, I'm not a square. No, not square like personality, square like your body type.
Yes, another shot. Far sideline. Elijah Jones was there last time. And how about the Cardinals defending that one again? And broken up by the Cardinals. Elijah Jones once again. 2 plays in a row defending the deep ball after Jonathan Gannon said he had his best 2 days of practice leading into this game.
Well, I love Elijah Jones' game. He was exciting last season before the injury in the preseason. But he has a great knack for finding the football. You would love to see him try and bring that one down. But plays like that, staying in phase as if you were a receiver, are plays that can make you stand out to make a roster.
Running step for step with Philip Dorsett II. Punt is away by Cole. Zay Weaver inside his 15. Makes the first man miss. And taken down there. All right, Cardinals on offense. When we come back, we are tied at 10 midway through the 3rd quarter at State Farm Stadium.
End/tackle. He was about 285, but he lost about 35 pounds to try and play a real tight end in the NFL. He's a big-time playmaker, and I talked to him on the field. He said, man, I'm expecting and hoping to get some run today, and it looks like he is.
It's tough, though. This tight end room is loaded. In fact, Ben Steele, a tight ends coach, we had him on the Big Red Rage radio show, and he said he saw question. It was on Twitter Face. That's what he called it. It was a Belichick malaprop. He said on Twitter Face he saw who has the best tight end room in the league, and he voted for the Arizona Cardinals. So you got to love that coming from the tight end coach. When you look at top to bottom, Trey McBride, Tip Ryman, Elijah Higgins. The question is there room for a fourth tight end, maybe a Travis Vokolek, who checks in at 6'6", 260. Those guys are hard to find because you have an offense that has led the league the last couple of years in 13 personnel, and they love to run 12 personnel, multiple tight ends.
Correct. 13 personnel, 3 tight ends, 12 personnel, 2 tight ends. But they're different body types. Vokolek is 6'6", Tip Ryman 6'4", 265. So they have different jobs on the field.
All right, that run went for 7. Clayton Tune on 2nd and 3. We have a flag. Jeremiah Byers in pass protection as Tune throws the ball away. It looks like this one is going to be marched back.
Holding. Offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Jeremiah Byers.
We're seeing some of the pressure up front. Last series, there was a sack taken. This series, not a sack taken, but another negative play. You have to understand that if you're playing with maybe second or third string offensive linemen, that clock in your mind has to tick a little bit quicker as a quarterback to get the ball out or make a quicker decision.
And that really has been the determining factor with Clayton Tune. As Jonathan Gannon says, let it rip. See it, trust it, get rid of it. Michael Carter flanking Tune on 2nd and 13 from their own 12. Pocket holds, looking, throwing, a crosser, and complete. Nate McCollum, the backup receiver. He is thrown out near the 20-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and 5.
And that's one of those ones where you see it and you got to go make the play. Middle of the field, Bryson Green was wide open. So it was a positive play, but it could have been a chunk play to number 30, Bryson Green, for a big-time first down. That's what happens when you start taking sacks and taking pressure. Instead of looking all the way down the field, you might be feeling that pressure just a bit.
And Sam, you know, the coaches say, hey, it's not just your eyes. It ties into your footwork and the rhythm of your drop. And is the ball out, or do you hitch? McCollum in motion. 3rd down and 5. Tune to the air. Buying time. Is he going to tuck it and run it? Gets out of bounds. But that will be far short of the 1st down marker. And here comes Blake Gillikin, the punter.
And that's, you can see the frustration from Clayton Tune. It wasn't that he didn't get the first down. It was the fact that he had a tight end who was in the middle of the field who was open, but who had slipped and fell down. I believe it was Josiah DeGuara, number 47, was open in the middle, but he was on the ground, so he could not get the ball to his receiver. Those are plays that Clayton Tune knows he wants to make, but he needs a little bit of help on the scramble drill from tight ends and receivers.
All right, Gillikin going to punt it away. Tommy Mellott deep for the Raiders. Gillikin in regular season form. Mellott to the far side as flags fly deep behind the play. And this one is coming back.
I was talking to Jeff Rogers, who's the assistant head coach and special teams coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals. I said, did you watch any film on Mellott?
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 42. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
He said he did, but what he's most excited about was to watch what it looked like in a real live game. Mellott's getting those opportunities, but he has to maximize them versus one of the best special teams coaches in the NFL.
We got, quote, annihilated by chunk plays, explosives in Denver. 15 plays of 15 yards or more, and that's exactly how he's looking for the Cardinals defense to respond, bottling up Dylan Laube to start the Raiders drive.
The biggest things that decide winning and losing are turnovers and explosive plays. This game is tied right now. The Cardinals barely have 100 yards of total offense, but they have a big-time turnover that got them points. They also haven't given up explosive plays. So those are two indicators when you're watching football of who's going to win or who's going to lose.
All right, gain of 1, 2nd down and 9. Cam Miller to the air, far side. Laube this time out of the backfield, dancing along the sideline. That'll bring up 3rd down and 4. Hey, let's take a look at our Fight for 53, sponsored by the Desert Financial Credit Union. Elijah Simmons right there out of Tennessee, rookie, undrafted nose tackle. All he's done is make noise since day 1 of camp. I mean, he has been an absolute menace in the O-line, D-line drills, and he has come completely off the radar, and he's definitely threatening to make this final 53.
The problem, though, is all the people in front of him. That's the issue he's fighting.
On that throw, on 3rd down and 2, move the chains. Raiders convert with that completion to Colin Johnson.
Elijah Simmons, he did a great job even in one-on-ones last week in practice versus Denver, but that defensive line room is so deep. It's unlikely he might be able to make the 53-man roster, but you think about practice squad and continuing to develop and then getting called up, that's where his best opportunity is based off the way the roster is currently constructed.
6 years at Tennessee, played in 55 games, only 8 starts at Tennessee. Defensive front was so loaded as well. Now Lowry on 1st down, straight up the gut. Yeah, this, I say the D&D line, Sam, stands for day and night. Stands for depth. When you look at the last couple of years, all the injuries Cardinals have had along that defensive front. Speaking of injuries, Jalen Jones is the Cardinals shaken up down in the field, backup DB. And now to add the likes of a Calais Campbell. We talked about Dalvin Tomlinson. You drafted Walter Noel in the 3rd. Hopefully he's coming soon. Out this preseason with injury. Darius Robinson, who played in 6 games the end of last year and is most definitely looking at taking that next step. Dante Stills, coaches refer to him as maybe the most consistent and disruptive interior defensive lineman when it comes to pass rushing. He's in year 3. All of a sudden, the question becomes, can you rush 4? Can you stop the run with 4? And if so, what does that do for your defense? And Nick Rollis has a lot of possibilities. Tied at 10 in the 3rd quarter. Looking at 2nd down and 5. Raiders at their own 36. We are tied at 10. Geno Smith with a touchdown pass. And then Simi Fehoko from Clayton Tune. The other touchdown in this game. Dylan Laube. He is pounded. 3 yards shy of the 1st down to bring up 3rd and 3.
We're seeing a lot of the same types of plays from this Raiders offense. It's almost this inside zone type of play. I'd like to see the outside linebackers play a little bit tighter. And then if you're lined up away from the running back, know that that ball is coming your way on a rundown. So be more physical against the run.
Michael Walker, the inside backer, showing blitz. 3rd down and 3 here. He comes up the middle, picked up, throw to the near flat, incomplete. As Cam Miller was going out there, but Jamie Robinson in coverage. And the Cardinals hold on 3rd down.
Great play by Robinson, breaking up that pass. And here's what we talk about. Want to make the 53, but maybe you're number 51 or 52 or 53. Make a big-time block on this return. Have a big return as the returner. Those are the things. Even I love watching the Gunners. Are you going to be dominant as a guy who's going against the Gunners as a corner?
Nate McCollum is going to get a chance to return this punt. And instead, he'll let that one kick up and go out of bounds on the far sideline. All right, let's go places and take a look at our out-of-town score, sponsored by your Valley Toyota dealers. Division opponents: Browns won at the end against the Rams. Packers beat the Seahawks. And then the 49ers over the Chargers. These Raiders had a joint practice against the 49ers a week ago. And the 49ers end up winning that game against the Raiders. Seahawks, Jalen Milroe got the entirety of that game.
I got a question for you, though, Paul. Will Matthew Stafford play week 1? He's been battling injury all offseason long. They said he's practicing. Dress or win, gotten a chance to start and play the majority of the game in the preseason. Will Matthew Stafford be ready? I'm excited to watch.
Yeah, that is a huge question, obviously, in the division for the Rams. Now, the Cardinals don't play the Rams until the final 6 games of the year. As Tune in his own end zone, running for his life, buys time, now throws it away on the near sideline. Bryson Green in the vicinity. And here's the thing about Matthew Stafford. The Cardinals found out the hard way in Week 17 a year ago. And they were a deflection off the helmet of Trey McBride in the end zone from winning that game and sweeping the Rams. But Matthew Stafford in the month of December as quarterback of the LA Rams is 13-1.
I played him back when he was with the Detroit Lions, and I was playing with the Chicago Bears, a divisional opponent. This dude is next level with his eyes, with his feet, with his moxie. He's got something to him.
Cardinals backed up from their own 7. Going to the air again from the end zone again. Zips it to the near sideline. Caught DeGuara. Nice chunk throw and catch. Clayton tuned to the backup tight end.
And this is, if I'm Arizona, this is when I would try to go a little bit of hurry up. Get some momentum. You see Clayton Tune saying, hey, get the play in quicker. You just had a chunk play. Defense is rotating. They're tired. I understand it's our first time calling plays, but try and get a little bit of tempo to change the look for the defense.
DeGuara, round 3 pick, 2020, spent 4 years with Green Bay. Last year with Jacksonville, Bam Knight. Cardinals first down. 33 and some room to work now with McCollum in motion. Gift, Knight hesitates, accelerates off the far side, got room to run into Raiders territory. 40, 30, high steps, 20, 10, gone. How about it? Bam Knight taking it all the way. 67-yard scamper.
That man got juice. Let's put it that way. And you saw the juice back when he was with the New York Jets. You see the juice anytime he touches the ball. Zonovan Bam Knight has next level ability. Great block by Josiah DeGuara. And then Bam Knight does the rest. He outruns the safety, outruns the linebackers, outruns the referee. All you need to do is get the ball in Zonovan Knight's hands, and he will make it happen.
And you talk about finishing speed. Chad Ryland out for the extra point. And SRP Touchdowns for Teachers gives teacher grants with every Arizona Cardinals touchdown. Learn more at srp.net/teachers. There's a reason why virtually every coach on offense says, I like this guy. I really like this guy. Bam Knight. And he just showed why.
And here's the issue. We're fighting for 53. The issue is twofold. Number one, with a play like this, unbelievable vision, speed, breakaway, the Cardinals might be thinking, okay, he might have been a guy we were going to cut and try to get him back on practice squad. If we cut this guy, there's another team that's looking at that breakaway speed, that next level speed, that's likely going to sign Zonovan Knight. So he made it just a little bit more difficult for the Cardinals to cut him. Of course, you want to make this team, but in all reality, you want to make any team. And plays like that, when you get your number called, are how you make a roster.
Yeah, he's an undrafted guy, 2022. Played with the Jets, the Lions, 9 games combined. His rookie year, he had a 90-yard rushing game at the end of that season. Had a chance to talk to him. Great personality, great smile. I said, now, wait a minute. The nickname Bam, that came from your playing days, like, you know, Pop Warner football. He said, no. He said, I was 4 years old. I was destroying toys, and my family members started calling me Bam. And so he said, that's what I was doing to all my toys as a youngster. As the kick is away, and that'll be a touchback coming out to the 35.
Did they keep on getting him toys, or did they stop giving Bam toys? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, they got him some heavy-duty toys at that point. The Santan Ford scoring drive presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. Santan Ford and the Arizona Cardinals. We are Santan Ford. 3 plays, 93 yards, 67 yards by Bam Knight.
And great breakaway speed, but we got to go back to the blocking up front. Josiah DeGuara, the veteran tight end, great job sealing off the outside linebacker. And then inside, you saw the lineman just making a big enough gap where Bam Knight wasn't touched.
And look, this is a Cardinals rushing offense that has finished number 2 each of the last 2 years in yards per carry. It's a Cardinals rushing offense that has finished top 3, top 5 the last couple of years in explosive runs, courtesy of James Conner leading the way. Cardinals lead 17-10, throw into the far flat. Dylan Laube going nowhere as Vi Jones out in coverage making the tackle. Here's my question to you, Mr. Sam Acho. If you do indeed have 2 co-RB1s, James Conner and now Trey Benson, I want you to answer the question when we come back. Do you expect to see 2 running back formations, personnel groups with 2 running backs this year? What might that do to defenses in 2025? Cardinals taking the lead here in the second half. We get the 4th quarter when we come back on the Arizona Cardinals Broadcast Network. Breezeboro with a purchase of a 20-ounce drink tomorrow at all Valleywide Sunboroughs locations. Redeem online at sunboroughs.com with promo code turnover. Great defense today means great Burrows tomorrow. Raiders taking over. Quick throw underneath, caught, and taking tacklers with them across the 45 is the Raiders receiver Justin Shorter.
Paul, you asked earlier about the 2 running back sets. People call it pony, right? 20, that 2 stands for running back, so 20, 2 running backs, 0 tight ends, 3 receivers, or 21, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 2 receivers, pony. Drew Petzing loves to run a lot of 20 personnel, 21, 22, pony. But I don't see it as being very effective. We talked to Jonathan Gannon yesterday. He said as a defensive coordinator, he loves seeing people come out with 2 running backs because those running backs aren't as great as receivers as having a receiver, nor are they great as blockers as having a tight end. And so I expect to see it because that's what Drew Petzing likes to do, but I don't think they need to run it as often.
Yeah, I had this great question and pretty much got officially shut down by the head coach. But, you know, I went down swinging. I took one for the team there, Sam. I was curious. 2 co-RB1s. Sincere McCormick, and he is bottled up. Elliott Brown at the tackle on the previous play. Anthony Goodlow getting in there, and he's flexing after making that stop.
Sincere McCormick's another big-time home run hitting type of running back out of UTSA. That's one thing I've been impressed about this defense for the Cardinals. They're slowing down the run game, at least the explosive plays. You saw the early leakage. I don't see as much in the second half.
All right, 3rd and obvious pass, 3rd and 10. Keep an eye on Xavier Thomas off the near side, coming off the edge. He has a sack and a fumble recovery. Instead, Keon Bars gets in and tears down Cam Miller, the quarterback, for the takedown, beating Alex Kappa, the right guard.
Well, that's 4 rushing is 1. Alex Kappa's a veteran in the NFL, played about a decade. You saw the outside linebackers going up the field, but Keon Bars knows he has a 2-way go. You see that inside hand just pressing back? That's a beautiful hand placement by Keon Bars. It's called a long arm. You get that hand on the inside breastplate of the offensive lineman, and they have nothing they can do. You long arm them, then you get off and get the sack. Brilliant and beautiful play by Bars.
4th and 14. The punt is away. Nate McCollum signals for a fair catch. And we do have a flag. More often than not on the punt, you're apt to get a flag. At least we have tonight. Don Willard taking over for Scott Novak in the second half as our white hat. And that'll go against the Raiders.
Personal foul, face mask. Kicking team number 28. A 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the kick. First down, timeout.
There you go. We'll see if the Cardinals can hang on to this lead and finish the preseason with a win. The first-time potential Pro Bowlers. I threw out there Garrett Williams, Paris Johnson Jr., Mack Wilson Sr., Marvin Harrison Jr., either one of the specialists right now. Here's my other list I've come up with this week. The elevator list, all right? Guys who are pushing the button to go to the next level as the Cardinals have 1st and 10 at their own 31 with McCollum in motion. And Tune under center, DeMercado straight ahead, trying to push the pile off the right side. Tip Ryman. Would you agree with Tip Ryman based on what we have seen? Just the physicality and the blocking of Tip Ryman as a tight end. Dante Stills I would throw in there. And then Max Melton, the corner. Guys going to that next level.
I would definitely agree, specifically with Tip Ryman. I got a chance not just to watch his film, but to talk to him as a human over the last few days and really weeks. And he's got this hunger about the game of football. He talks about some of his key words being reliable, being consistent, dependable, and he lives that out both on and off the field.
Gain of 2, 2nd down and 8. DeMercado 1st down and more as he pinballs off a man into Raiders territory. How about that? Gain of 17, maybe 18 by Amari DeMercado.
And you love to see what's happening now. You're starting to see the offensive line and tight ends wear on the defense. They're just putting their bodies on defenders, and all of a sudden a gap is open here or a gap is open there, and a big play is able to be made. sometimes you run the same play over and over and over again, and the defense makes one mistake, and that's all you need for a big play.
All right, Cardinals into Raiders territory, leading 17-10. Clayton Tune behind the third-team offensive line. Now he's going to check it down in the flat. DeMercado, great hands, and lowers the pads, lowers the boom on a Raiders DB near the 43-yard line. The other guys I put on the list, Rabbit, Dadrian Taylor Demerson I threw on there, Elijah Higgins. There's DeMercado bringing the physicality. I just think Rabbit, after a year playing behind Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson, there's a reason they're going to find some 3 safety looks to get him on the field. Michael Carter in the pistol, give, Justin Fry once again calling these plays, and we get an injury update with Danny Surek down on the sideline.
About halfway through the third quarter, cornerback Jalen Jones got banged up on a play, walked off with trainers with a towel over his face, spent about 5 minutes in the blue medical tent before walking off with trainers to the locker room, where he is now being evaluated for a concussion.
All right, thank you, Danny.
Interesting point, Danny. I was talking to special teams coach and assistant head coach Jeff Rogers, and I was talking about, hey, what's the roster looking like? He said, man, we can talk about that all we want, but sometimes injuries happen. Last year, end of the preseason, they lost Elijah Jones and Christian Jones, so something to be alert for with Jalen Jones.
3rd and 3, Clayton Tune looking to get the ball out. Does near sideline, toe tapping. Did Nate McCollum complete the catch? He did. Nice job by the Cardinals receiver. First down, Arizona.
Yeah, great job by Nate McCollum. Signed a few weeks ago, 5'9", 185 out of North Carolina. But what I love is that he's staying available for his quarterback. We haven't seen this all the second half, and it was looking like Pete Carroll's going to challenge the play. There's a first play and there's a second play. The first play doesn't work. You have to go into the scramble drill. Stay available. Stay friendly. That's what we saw from Nate McCollum.
Las Vegas is challenging the ruling the field of a completed catch. Plays under review.
All right. All right, the other list I had here, Sam, I know you're itching for another list, all right? Cardinals trying to figure out, all right, players to watch as we get towards the regular season opener week 1 at New Orleans. By the way, the Saints played today, and there's really no definitive decision yet as to their starting quarterback. Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shook, 2 Valley guys. Neither one grabbed the job. Neither one made the decision for new head coach Kellen Moore as we get another look.
That looks good to me, Paul. I see, oh, that left foot might have lifted just a little bit. Hold on. Let's see.
Did he have 2 feet down when he had control?
I like it. I like it, coach. I like it. I see a toe down. I see control. I don't think that can be overturned.
Don Willard took a look, and he's got the call.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It is a catch. Las Vegas is charged their first time out of the half and lost 1 challenge.
Cardinals hype trains. Okay, these are guys getting a lot of hype based on what we saw in Cardinals camp. Trey Benson. Will Johnson. We talked a lot about Will Johnson. And look, has there been a rookie learning curve? Did he have a PI against KC? Did he have a defensive holding? There was also that interception of Kyler Murray, a fantastic play in the red and white practice. Will Johnson, I can just tell you a lot of the veterans are buzzing about. First down and 10. Cardinals trying to build on a 17-10 lead. Set up a screen to the left. Nothing doing. Michael Carter taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Trevin Mahai making that tackle.
Yeah, I don't like that play call. Real quick, I know we're going to get back to your list, Paul. But that play call, that's the time to take a shot. Don't do a screen on that play. You've been running the ball effectively. Play action and then take a shot down the field. That was a play action, but then went to that short screen. You've been running screens all preseason long, all season last year. Chunk plays. Think bigger.
All right, so a loss of 6. Double tight ends to the right. And Tune, keep it on the ground. Can Michael Carter get the corner? Flag flies as he steps out of bounds. Right along the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty. Pete, second down.
That's the rookie right tackle Jeremiah Byers. All right, speaking of the right side of the offensive line, Isaiah Adams, I have in the hype train list. He's had a phenomenal August. Sam, I'll segue into this list any way I can.
No, I gotta answer. I gotta answer the list though,
okay.
right? I do have a little bit of beef.
Okay,
a little bit of beef.
Yep.
I like Isaiah Adams. I like Trey McBride.
Yep.
Will Johnson, there might be a learning curve. I was on the Will Johnson hype train. I still am on the Will Johnson hype train, but this guy is top 10 talent, still a second-round pick. He could be elite in the NFL, but the technique has to be a bit better, not so sloppy.
All right, second down in Tucson here. Second and 26, DJ Dallas off tackle right. Taking it across the 45 near the 42. Well, if I'm premature with a hype train on Will Johnson, or maybe if you're pumping the brakes in that one a little bit, how about Jordan Birch? A little bit under the radar, third round pick, but let me tell you, what we have seen out of Jordan Birch in limited action, he has been really productive and disruptive.
Well, here's what I'll say. Regarding Will Johnson and Jordan Birch, two rookies, I'm very excited about their potential, but the hype train can't just be based off of preseason. You need to see them produce when the bright lights are on.
That is a valid point. Third and 21. Is Tune going to run it? He's going to tuck it. He's loose at the 30, 25. He has the first down and gets out of bounds. Clayton Tune, you know what? He noticed that the defense had their back to him, and he took off running and picked up the first down.
One thing I love about Clayton Tune's game is that there's this sense of people get who he is. They know he's going to run the ball if things break down. So he steps up in the pocket. You're going to see at the very end of this play, Nate McCollum has a chance to knock out one of these defenders, and he doesn't. At the very end, you see them, he kind of backs away. That could have been a 15-yard penalty. That's a little thing, but a big deal. Great job by Nate McCollum not taking an illegal blindside block on that play.
Gain of 25 on third and 21. DJ Dallas running the ball now. He takes it down near the 15-yard line.
I got a list for you.
Let her rip.
What are the top 5 things Ron Wolfley will do in retirement?
That's great. That is a good one.
I think number 1, he's got some kids, some high schoolers who he wants to coach.
Sure, a lot of high school football in his future, no doubt about it.
I think he'll still be watching a lot of football.
Oh, yeah. He'll be griping and grousing about the blood sport. There's no doubt about it.
I think he'll still have his great descriptors, rectangles and squares and triangles and octagons.
Put triple pepperoni sandwiches on that list. That's Tune on second down and 6. And he's going to throw underneath Tajon Palmer. Guess what? He's got the first down across the 10 near the 8-yard line. Move the sticks. Cardinals on the move.
Another guy trying to make a name for himself. Tajon Palmer, 6th-round pick last year. Clayton Tune's looking to the flat. Flat's not available. Tajon Palmer gets himself available out of UAB. He's a big-time receiver as far as balls down the field, but now you're seeing him work more of those intermediate routes.
Less than 6 minutes to go in the preseason. Clayton Tune under center. DJ Dallas 7 yards deep. And he lunges forward with a second effort.
So what will Wolfley be doing? Our friend Ron Wolfley, what will he be doing? Top 5 things in retirement. I got to hear it from you.
Well, we know his affinity for the compound. You know, he's going to be enjoying his couch this football season. There's no doubt about that.
Will he be responding to text messages? That's one thing I heard. He doesn't respond to texts or calls. I texted Wolfley a couple weeks ago. Didn't hear nothing. Saw him in person. Hey, Sammy, I love you.
Yeah, Wolf is it's usually all or nothing, right? So in retirement, I mean, he's off the grid at this point. Tune looking into the end zone, fine time, throwing near the pylon, dropped at the feet of Tajon Palmer. He just couldn't corral it.
Yeah, and that's one that it needs to be a better pass, flat out, point blank, period. But Tajon Palmer, he's got to bring that one in, right? You want to try and make a name for yourself, make a roster. You got to be able to bring that one in. Even if it's not a perfect pass, make your quarterback right. You see him, he's focused, he's dialed in. It's a little bit low, but make the catch and then get into the end zone. Don't try to make the catch and then jump in. Make the catch first. The end zone will find you.
Here we go, 3rd and goal. Cardinals at the Raiders 6. Raiders showing blitz. Tune to the air, finds the pocket, and down he goes. coming in and making the sack, Andre Carter II.
Yeah, and I see the field goal team coming on. I don't love it, right? It's third preseason game, last opportunity. I understand it. You don't want guys to get injured. You want to get your guys, your field goal, special teams guys some reps. But I'd love to see Clayton Tune and Tajon Palmer and some of these offensive linemen in a fourth and gotta have it situation.
Instead, it's Chad Ryland, 30-yard field goal attempt. The man who created quite a buzz in Denver a week ago, hitting a 72-yarder in warm-ups in elevation. And that is right between the uprights. Cigna Healthcare proud to sponsor the Kicks for Kids program for the 16th year. For each successful Cardinals field goal, Cigna Healthcare donates to Arizona Cardinals Foundation, benefiting the Excel Center for Children and Adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities. Has rushed for 206 yards. How about that? And that's the biggest play of them all.
Yeah, great job again, not just by Bam, but by DeGuara and also Tajon Palmer on that crack block, on that inside block to that safety, just like you drew it up.
Cardinals with a field goal, 14-play, 58-yard drive, 30-yard field goal, as Ryland now puts that deep into the end zone for a touch 35. And the Santan Ford scoring drive presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. Santan Ford and the Arizona Cardinals. We are Santan Ford. How about that? An 8.5-minute drive as the Cardinals take control here in the fourth quarter. Now lead by 10. The other list I'll throw out there, Sam, because I know you just can't get enough of it, would be the under the radar list. You know what the kids say, low key.
Do they still say low key?
Jonah Williams, work with me, Sam. Jonah Williams, right tackle, ahead of the curve, and his return from the knee injury. Look, Paulie Pencilneck never played offensive line, but I can tell you this, when Jonah Williams was at right tackle a year ago, the Cardinals were much better as an offense.
Correct. And you go back to his time in Cincinnati with the Bengals. I mean, he's an outstanding player. The issue was the injury last season, and he is ahead of the curve, recovering from that injury. They saw him work out a little bit in OTAs. That got them excited. So I'm excited for him at that right tackle position for Kyler Murray.
To the air, Cam Miller underneath. Hits his big tight end, Albert Okwuegbunam, 6'5", 258, year number 6 for him. The other guy I put on the under radar list, and your point is well taken about, look, I put some of the rookies on there, Will Johnson, Jordan Birch, like breakout and hype train. Regular season football is not preseason football. I get it, and you can easily get false positives in August that don't carry over to September. But here's a proven guy who just 3 years ago had a 1,200-yard receiving season, Zay Jones. Now, last year, missed the first 6 games, just never got in sync, never was a big part of the offense. You saw him in the final 2 games. He was really productive last year. Nearly picked off, jumping the route on Cam Miller for the Cardinals. Darren Hall, not a surprise, had won nearly 2 interceptions in the preseason opener, and he nearly closed the preseason with another one.
Hey, Paul, put him on one of your lists. I don't care. Pick a list, put him on, right, get your pen out, write it down. Because Darren Hall's a playmaker. He had that interception in week 1, nearly had a second one. He's just always around the ball, not afraid to take a risk to make a list.
Wow, there you go. Sam Acho officially in regular season form. As Miller will jump pass as the pocket was collapsing. Gets it to the receiver, Tommy Mellott. But you're right, on the under the radar, Darren Hall belongs on that list.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Let's make these lists malleable. Let's make them adjustable.
Just don't use words I can't define as you throw underneath. See, that's part of the problem was in the past, I always used to like to joke that when Passion Wolf around here, I knew I was the smartest guy in the booth. Then Sam Acho shows up and AQ Shipley. That's no longer the case. 2-minute warning.
Giftiness to him that makes him different than other backs.
Yeah, he was bottled up, was able to escape. Had a big chunk run earlier in the game. DJ Dallas, the running back, with Tune under center. From midfield, and DJ Dallas, he was buried in the backfield, a loss of 2. Hey, here's a look at our Cardinals QB comparison, sponsored by
Michael Wilson has that chance as well, and as Jacoby Brissett is is one of the, yes, backup quarterbacks, but he's also a mentor to guys like Clayton Tune and Kyler Murray.
It's 2nd and 11. DJ Dow still the running back. Justin Fry still calling the plays, the offensive line coach, and they're content just to keep this on the ground. Raiders do exercise a timeout.
Just early season success, but late season finishing. That's my hope and goal for Kyler Murray. And I think that's what a guy like Jacoby Brissett provides. He lets you know how to train in the regular season to stay strong for a late season playoff push, how to prepare mentally, physically, emotionally. So that's the benefit of having a 10-year vet in the room.
2-minute warning.
All right, 2-minute warning.
This ain't looking good, Big Red. Got to zoom in a little bit, right? All right, good. Got it on Gillis. Okay. Is it still Big Red? Because if so, you make the squad.
You know, the beak gets in the way of the whole viewfinder thing. It's tough. Tommy Blott is...
The beak.
Speaking of Wolf, might have to rip off one of his great lines. Whenever a Cardinal would make a physical play, I loved his line, you know, you mess with a bird, you get the beak, as the flag flies. Speaking of Wolf and Pash, this is officially the witching hour. The final 2 minutes of the final preseason game.
I think...
During the return, holding. Receiving team number 18. It's half the distance to the goal line. First down.
One thing that needs to be said is, in this last preseason game, some of these players on the field or on the sideline will not get a chance to play football ever again. And so I just remember being one of those guys like, man, not sure what was going to happen. That's why it's good to live in the moment. Make the most of every rep, of every play, because you never know when it's going to be your last.
Yeah, this Raiders offense has been bottled up in the second half as Cam Miller, running for his life, gets the ball away into the far flat, makes a man miss, and out of bounds. There's the backup tight end, Albert Ukwe-Obunam. Before that play, the Raiders in the second half had 62 total yards and 4 first downs. Sam, you know, I had this conversation with A.Q. Shipley, the new radio analyst, last week in the radio booth, and he said, look, there were years I went into the final preseason game and my biggest decision was what flavor sunflower seeds I was going to have. And there were other years I went into the final preseason game and I didn't know if I was going to be employed in 48 hours. I mean, you've lived that as well, have you not?
I have. My penultimate year in the NFL, I guess it was my last year in the NFL, I spent training camp with the Buffalo Bills, and in my mind, it felt like I knew it was towards the end. And I remember playing in that game, the last game in the fourth quarter, and I remember missing a sack that I knew I could have made. And a few days later, I got that phone call and ended up getting released on my birthday. And for whatever reason, I did feel a sense of peace because I knew there was more to come.
Second down and 10. And the receiver makes the catch. About a yard shy of the first down, Marquez Callaway.
And even to that point, I think we all say, oh no, it's the end for all these guys. But these guys are going to go on to do bigger and better things. The ones who don't make it on this team or another team, it's not like their life ends at football. There's so much more that they will do in their futures. That's the exciting part about the end of the regular preseason.
There's Cam Miller zipping one down the middle, almost picked off by Jones right there in coverage. I mean, no better example than a Greg Dortch. 6 teams in his first 3 years. And look at the traction. He's now the longest tenured Cardinals receiver, Greg Dortch. And when you interview him, and I have multiple times, he said, that's part of my story. That's part of my journey. That's what helped turn me into the player I am today. 4th down and 2. And Miller trying to gauge if he can run for it. He gets out of bounds and he picks up the first down.
And to your point, Paul, people run from adversity oftentimes, but adversity produces character, and that character can produce hope. So whether you get cut or get injured or things don't go your way in life, don't run from that adversity. Embrace it, because it can make you the person that you are meant to be.
And look, in year 3, with Monty and JG restacking, resetting this roster, throw and a big hit as the Raiders tight end is dumped. I mean, there are going to be players, legit NFL players, cut from this Cardinals final 53 who will latch on elsewhere. That's how much better the talent level is at this point. 3 drafts, 28 draft picks. In fact, that's going to be a first. It's going to be the first time Monty Ossenford, the GM, and Jonathan Gannon, the head coach, have had to cut one of their draft picks of the Arizona Cardinals.
Correct. And some of those names, I mean, Elijah Jones is a guy who's made a case for himself to stay on this team. A guy they drafted last year but was injured. Darren Hall's made a case for himself to find whether this team or another team. These guys will land on their feet.
3rd down and 5. Grab from behind and thrown down. Xavier Thomas is there. Patrick Jenkins helps clean him up. But XT, in nearly the very last snap, is stating his case.
There's another name, a guy who's been on the roster bubble, who's trying to make a name for himself.
4th down and 11. Less than 30 seconds to play. And over the middle, and a flag flies. Jamie Robinson in coverage against the Raiders tight end.
How about XT? Not just him, but a bunch of those guys are tired on that defensive line. You playing all these reps.
Pass interference. Defense, number 26. That penalty's decline. Result of the play. 1st down.
Yeah, that's a good point. In the regular season, there's much more of a rotation, isn't there?
Not here. Not here. You said you wanted reps. Hey, here you go. It's time to catch your breath and catch that second wind.
All right, so
Previous plays under review.
early indications are that was not a catch. And again, this is where you get help from up above in the booth. And at first glance, it does not appear that he had control of that one all the way through the catch. And that was a quick determination.
After review, the pass is incomplete. However, there was pass interference on the defense. That penalty is accepted. Result of the play is a 1st down.
I will say this, and we're going to see an incomplete pass here, pass interference, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish. The Raiders are playing to the echo of the whistle. That means you get an opportunity to do it as well, to get a sack, to get an interception, to know that this is an obvious must-score situation for them. They're not going for a field goal. They're trying to go score a touchdown to simulate this situation. So now's the time to make the play with a winning play, interception, sack, fumble, tip.
The Raiders out of timeouts. 24 lonely seconds left in the preseason. And we are set to play. Cardinals going to rush 4 as Cam Miller goes deep downfield, down the seam as his man at the 25, Shedrick Jackson. And by the way, he's a great nephew of Bo Jackson. How about that for a little factoid? 7-6, they clock it with 6 on the clock. Look, there's always a discrepancy between the preseason, the regular season, the win-loss record, but there's also what we think we know about this Cardinals team. As you see the replay here, and there's no doubt they're going to be much more stout along the defensive front 7. They're going to have more weapons on offense. They think they have solidified the interior offensive line with the development of Isaiah Adams. Throw into the end zone on the final play of the game. It's out the back of the end zone, and that'll do it. That'll do it for the game. That'll do it for the preseason.
That's the end of the game.
Xavier Thomas, a little slow getting up near the 35-yard line. But Jonathan Gannon shaking hands with Pete Carroll. Cardinals win 20-10 to close out the preseason. They go 2-1 in the 3 games. And a lot of players on the bubble stating their case tonight. Look, if you were playing in this game, you were playing for a reason. You were playing for a roster spot. And there were a lot of guys who balled out. A lot of guys who are going to make it tough